I'm about to give one of my computers the last update it's going to see. So in this computer, about to install this Icy Dock. And so exactly what is this? The Icy Dock will occupy a 5 1/4 inch bay, but it will allow you to put up to four 2.5 inch drives in that slot. It allows you to just give one power supply. You do need to have four SATA cables, but you only have to supply one power supply, and it'll take care of distributing that power across all four of the drives. In addition to holding the drives, you can also use the IC dock to swap out the drives without having to open up the computer. You can see one of the drives sticking out. Each one of the drives gets an eject button that you can use for removing it and put another one in. So I'm about to get this installed in this older computer that I have. This older computer that I'm using, it has a total of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 SATA ports that are on it. So I have the four that are needed for the IC dock, in addition to having a couple of others that I can put in for drives that I don't plan on taking out. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing set up right now and show you how easy this is. Now let's see what's in the box. Now I will also disclose this is not the first one of these I've had. I actually do have another one and it's not working right now, and you might wonder, well, why are you getting another one if the one you have isn't working? The one I have is actually pretty darn old, and to have lasted as long as it did, I am not disturbed at all by the fact that it has finally come to its end. This is a mechanical system, so it will wear out and break one day. And the way the other one broke is the eject buttons don't work anymore, so I have to remove the drives through other means. But otherwise, it is still in a computer holding four drives. So this is the new one. And so what we've got in the box is we have the unit itself, of course. They gave us a thin instruction manual, and then it came with some screws for installing it. For this computer, installing new drives is relatively easy, in part because the drive bay comes out. I've already removed the screws so that I can take it out. And so there's three 5 1/4 inch drive bays along with one 3.5 inch. So I've also already removed the screws from the front of the drive bay so I can get quick access to it. I'm actually going to go ahead and do two things at once here. In addition to installing the IC dock, I also do need to install a hard drive. This had previously been a corporate machine that was retired, so as part of preparing it for disposal, the old drive that was in there was taken out and destroyed. So it doesn't have any drive in it right now, and it looks like the drive mounting hardware was also went out with the drive. So I had to get new drive mounts in order to do that. So the way we are going to do this is I'm going to put this mechanical hard drive on one of the lower positions. Okay, here we go. And of course I'm going to secure that in with screws. And then the IC dock is just going to slide in on top of that. So now I'm going to go ahead and get everything secured with screws, and then we'll get to connecting the cables. So I have the drive secured in the bay, but let's take a look at what we have on the back of it. There's a few things to point out. One is you can see where the four SATA connectors are. So it's easy to tell at a quick glance which one goes to the left and which one goes to the right. If you look carefully, you might be able to see the triangles that are underneath the SATA connectors. That lets you know whether or not the connectors for the drive on the top or for the bottom. Now if you look in the upper right hand corner, you can make out where the power connector is. In the upper left hand corner, there is a jumper that connects to the fan. And if you keep that jumper in place, then the cooling fan that's on the back will run. If you wanted to turn that off, you can remove the jumper. It is also possible to change the fan speed through what looks like a volume adjustment that's on the front of the drive. But from here, the only thing I need to do is connect those cables to the motherboard, give it power, and then it's ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So I now have the IC dock installed. That's it at the top. For those of you that are really paying attention, you might notice that this is a different drive layout than what I had been showing before. I had to move everything to the other side because my video cards were getting in the way when I put them back in. Now, as far as putting the drives in, I'll go ahead and put these in. Now, these, I have tape on them because my other IC dock, the eject mechanism, is broken, so I need to have some way to pull them out. So that's why this is on here. But as far as putting them in, you just slide them in all the way until you hear it click, and then that's it. It's in there. Once it's put in, the eject button pops out. If you want to get the drive out, you just apply pressure to the eject button, and it is a good bit of pressure you must apply, and the drive comes back out. But I'm going to put the 4 drives back in here. And while this is advertised as saying that these drives are hot swappable, your computer needs to have support for that. So you might need to change settings in your BIOS. You need to be running an operating system that supports it. I have found that I cannot do hot swapping on mine. So if I swap these drives out, I'm going to have to turn the computer off and turn it back on for them to be recognized. But that's still easier than having to open up the computer to take drives out. Now, let's turn the computer on. And so you might be able to see occasional blinking of the drives. That indicates activity. And now that my computer started up, I can see all my drives. So from left to right, I see the main drive, the main internal drive. There's my M.2 drive is drive D. Then there's a CD-ROM. And then the next 4 that follow are the drives that are inside the Icy Dock. So this works. Now I said that my system does not support ejection while the system's on. I'm going to eject a drive. Okay, I've taken it out. Oh, look at that. I actually can take it out. So I don't know what's different now. Let me put it back in, and I'll put the drive back in. I see a drive indicator light flashing. Okay, I can do hot swapping, and there it is. It shows up now. Okay, well, I don't need to shut my computer down. It looks like this just works. The only other comments I have on this is that whenever you're ejecting these drives, sometimes you do have to apply a good bit of pressure in order for them to come out. So it does not come out with ease, but it's still a matter of convenience. So if you have a whole lot of 2.5-inch drives that you just want to be able to swap between, this is something to consider. Now, in addition to having an Icy Dock for 2.5-inch drives, they also do make one that is for M.2 drives. The ones I've seen generally load and unload your M.2 drive from the back, but that's something else that you might want to check out. Until next time.